Obviously, the games are in full view. We'll be playing a week from tomorrow, and every coach, I'd imagine at this point in your preparation, gets a little more nervous as the games get closer in terms of wishing you had more time, and I'm no different. I certainly would like a little more time to prepare for these games, but the calendar keeps moving, and we're going to be on the court here in about 8 days.
Are you in a better feel for your group when you look back on a year of coming in later with new players and you have a different perspective, maybe having time and more of what you'd like to do with these kids? Is that a better perspective for you?
I think I'm more comfortable in being the head coach here now than I was a year ago, just because of all the unknowns that were still waiting for us with not having, coached a game in the Pan Am, or certainly went through a WAC schedule. I feel like I probably know this team a little bit better now than I did last year. That doesn't mean it's really going to affect the wins, which matters the most, but certainly I think I know them better just because we've been together longer, and we had the trip in August to make it even more comfortable for all of us.
How are you seeing the chemistry of this group come together?
I think they're good. I think they like each other. They seem to be getting along great. It hasn't been an issue for us since we've arrived. And to be honest with you, I've really not been on a lot of teams that didn't get along. I mean, basketball players tend to like each other, and they're all, pursuing a common goal and got a lot of similar personalities as well. So I see no issues with that.
How happy are you to be the guy with the target on your back again?
Not very. I wish it wasn't. I'd rather be the hunter, to be honest with you. I think most coaches would agree. It's a little more easier to motivate your players when that's the case, but it's not something that we shy away from either. I mean, that's the goal, is to get to that position, and this program is probably more hunted than this year's team, to be honest with you, because of all the past success that the program has had. But we talk about it. We talk about it with our team that the target's big, and we're going to take everybody's best shot, and we just have to accept it, understand it, and try to guard against any complacency.
Do you like the toughness of this schedule this team will face?
In the end, yeah. I think having those opportunities is important. I believe in trying to schedule that way because of what it can do for the program. Ask me in 8 weeks how I feel about it, because it could be a rough stretch for us in November, December, because of all the quality opponents that we're going to face. So, I think it's important for the fan base. I think it's important for our players. I think it's important for our team to be tested and challenged, and we'll certainly be WAC ready by the time we're done with this non-conference schedule.
How much competition for spots are still open on this team? Like, obviously there was a lot of competition for really every spot on the floor and playing time going into the year with 8 days left. Is there still a lot of that, and going to be a lot of that early in the year too?
I think so. I don't foresee us starting the same lineup a lot early. I think we've got at least 2 and possibly 3 spots that are still ongoing battles, and I anticipate that being the case for quite some time, just because of Johnny's injury, and then we've got a glut of guards that are all equally productive but in different ways. So a lot of it will have to do with who's playing well in a short period of time, or who's hot for that matter during a game. But we do continue to have competition. We've got at least 1 and probably 2 spots that I think that the positions are earned in terms of starters, but I'm not ready to reveal anything like that.
A lot of times when coaches inherit a program, you'll kind of have to shift philosophies to kind of fit what the roster you inherit. Now that you have more guys that you've recruited onto the roster, should people expect a style change in any way?
Not necessarily. Our staples of our program, continue to be the same. Any style change would be more due to once you've, recruiting one kid's one thing, but coaching them is another. and you really learn who they are and what they're really good or bad at, for that matter. And so any style change will be more predicated upon knowing our players better and having to tweak our system to put them in a better position to have success. So it won't be a big picture thing that people will see a difference in, but I think we're in constant change and trying to tweak what we do to put our players in better positions to have success. And I think that you'll see a little bit different of a style of play this year compared to last.
Other than Johnny, Coach, is everybody else pretty much healthy at this point of the year? Or?
I think for the most part, certainly like everybody, we've got half our team on the injury list for ankles and bumps and bruises, et cetera. And there's a lot of taping going on.
But nothing major.
But nothing major. Eli did suffer an injury late in our scrimmage on Saturday, and I'm not exactly sure if he's going to be out for an extended period of time or not yet.
You mentioned the scrimmages, obviously. I don't know what publicly you can say about them, but are you happy with how they went, and what can you kind of say from your 2 scrimmages?
I think they're just so helpful for us. I mean, to be able to, basically practice/compete against another team, a Division I team, in a closed-door situation is just so helpful to your growth and to see where you're at and, kind of formulate a shorter-term plan to work on your deficiencies and, accentuate your positives. And we learned a ton on Saturday. I think that's why I'm a little like, man, I wish I had more than 6 practices before, our first game. And then when those games come, it's game, 2 days off game, 2 days off game. So the first 4 or 5 games come fast and hard, and there won't be a lot of in between, being able to practice much because we'll be in prepare mode for each particular scout. So those scrimmages were invaluable. We got better from the Abilene Christian scrimmage than the Arizona State scrimmage, and we have still a long way to go, and we have to be even better in terms of how we react to Saturday.
Clayton Henry seems like a guy who could really, contribute and be a major factor with this team right away. What have you seen from him this year? And obviously a good JUCO product, and how can he really help your team?
Yeah, we're counting on him. He's a bigger 3 from compared to what we have. We don't have a lot of bigger wings, and he has a little bit of size and a little bit of girth to him. So, our hope is that he can take a stranglehold on that position and be productive. So we don't have to play so small and have 3 guards out on the court. We'd like to have him out there as much as possible at the 3 because of his ability to shoot the basketball and stretch the D and to be a pretty good defender with some size. So he is a key for us. And so far, he's played well. He's shot the ball well. We figured out kind of who he is, and he's figuring out who he is in our system as well. But so far, so good with Clayton.
Watching film of JoJo at Utah, it seems like he has a lot of Zach Lofton-like qualities. How ready do you think he is to take on a role on the team offensively that is similar to one Zach?
He's not. I don't know what film you're watching, but he's not Zach Lofton. I don't think he's even the same category or breadth as Zach Lofton. I like JoJo, and he has an ability to score the ball, and he needs to for us. But in our 2 live opportunities, I don't think he's hit double figures in either opportunity, and obviously I see him every day, and I'd love for him to be able to be a consistent scorer, and he needs to be a consistent scorer for us. But I'm not sure, he's gotten better on the defensive end, but in order for him to play as many minutes as that's needed for him to put up points, he's got to play the other end of the floor. And he's gotten better, and he showed a couple signs on Saturday where he made a tough play or 2 in front of our bench that was encouraging. But I don't think he's the level of scorer that Zach is. Zach's a once every decade, in my opinion, kind of guy. I mean, I mean, he's the best player I've ever coached in 27 years and definitely the best scorer I've ever coached. And, you know, it's unfair to compare them two and to put that kind of onus on JoJo just because it's a different caliber of player.
Coach, you mentioned earlier, I think last month, about how Sean Buchanan really has been a leader for this team too. Obviously, AJ is going to get a lot of attention in that role, but you know, he had a good year last year. You know, what have you seen from Sean in that point guard role to be a leader, and you know how he can really help your team maybe even more this year in a bigger role?
Yeah, the best thing about Sean is, you know, I trust him. You know, I know who he is and what he brings to the table, and I can throw him in the game, and for the most part, I have a pretty good idea of, you know, how he's going to conduct his business and how he's going to run the team and be a, you know, defensive first mentality kind of guy, and he's a leader, and guys like playing with him. We talk about it in practice all the time. You know, who are the guys that you rely on to help you get through practice, or who do you turn to get some added energy, and definitely Sean is the first name out of kids' mouths. And my response to that is always, well, then be more like him. Be a better teammate so other people can rely on you. And so we're still working on that. You know, we'd like to get more guys to join the party in terms of bringing energy every day. But that goes a long way with me. I believe in that. I think having good energy and being a good teammate provides a lot of value to your program. And Sean's one of those guys, and we can count on him. And hopefully he can, you know, play a bigger role. He's worked on his game. He didn't shoot the ball very well last year. He's shooting a little bit better this year, but I think more importantly, he's being a good decision maker. You know, his assist to turnover in practice is off the charts, and hopefully that will transfer to the court as well.
Since official practice began, where do you think you've seen the most growth from the team?
I think just understanding our expectations in terms of being ready to go every day. We've had pretty good quality of practices overall. You know, their practice personality has grown a lot from the summer, and you know, every day, you know, they get after one another at a pretty good level, and that's the goal, is, you know, to compete at the highest level as you can every day and to bring out the best in each other, which in turn will help us, you know, collectively on game night. But that's probably the thing that jumps out first, is just their growth in terms of their preparation and their approach to practice, and then that personality, you know, that has grown over time.
How's Johnny's progression in rehab going so far?
You know, I don't ask too many questions. I think so far so good, and I haven't asked a lot prior to that, so I'll probably continue that mantra. But I think he's doing fine. You know, he's out of the boot. Unfortunately, that type of injury, you know, normally when you get out of a boot and you're walking on your own, you're, you know, getting ready to get back in the fold. But because of the nature of his injury, it just takes a lot of time, and you have to be sure not to bring him back too early. So I think we're in a good place with him, and the prognosis is better than maybe what they said when it initially had the injury. So hopefully he'll continue to heal well.